Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic and music check. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Atlam, I see you lurking. You there? Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Of course I had that beautiful mug covered. Loud and clear. How you doing, Dyson? Welcome back, my friend. How's things? Hey, Gabredo. I love that name. Hello, hello, Atlam. How are you? Dyson says I had 4 days off, now back to hell. Oh no, I'm sorry. You know, I love my work, so I feel bad that you hate yours. I think everyone should have a job that they enjoy, but I know that's not practical. I guess I'm just one of the lucky few, you know? That being said, I definitely know what it's like to work a job you don't enjoy. I've done it many times. I'd just like to say welcome one and all to the weekly edition of Office Hours. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Throughout the stream today, we'll be working on this cemetery build that we've been working on for some time. I'm hoping to wrap it up shortly. That, or I may even just finish the project privately and start a new map on stream. I'm getting to the point where this thing has just, it's so much. So many graves, so many, like, details, and I want to finish it. I'm going to. But I think I want to transform Mapmaker Monday into more of a shorter format where, like, a map can be finished in a month and released that month. Philadelphia, how you doing? Yeah, Jester, this thing is massive. So it is a 85 by 82, right? But if you look here, I've just crammed hundreds of graves in. Graves. Just in this leg alone, I'd imagine it's like 500-600, like 300 to 500 graves. There's so many. And then you have this little block here, right? Full of graves. And that's where it gets tricky, is I'm like trying to fill in all the space the best I can. Lauren Zader, how you doing? Welcome back. Right here, I'm planning to put like a little park, and over here, more graves. And then over here would be like mausoleums. The problem is, like, I feel like this project is waned on long enough and people get the gist of how to make a cemetery. All that's left is to finish it and release it, really. So what I'll likely do is work on it in my spare time. And then starting next week, we'll start a new project. I'm thinking of trying to think of like a theme for next week. So I'm open to suggestions for what I should start building. The new Saturday format starts on the 6th, so we haven't started it yet. First stream will be on the 6th, 5 days from now. I'm a little nervous because it's like a variety show with segments. So kind of akin to like the Tonight Show or something where there's like multiple things they cover and do interviews, you know, show off things, music, games, etc. But the first variety stream is coming up, and I already have a guest lined up. Our first community interview will be Sack, who is very long time map maker, prolific map maker, and shares tons of assets and maps on the workshop. I'm really excited to have him on the stream so we can pick his brain and, you know, get his thoughts on map making. So if you all are free this Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific, that's 3 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. UTC. Sorry, I have to like think using my telepathy. Telepathy? Telepathy. I kill myself sometimes. Anyway. So, the plan is, you know, we're going to interview Sack. I'm already kind of putting feelers out for future interviews. I'd like to get a staff interview for our next one, though, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to mix in, like, it's going to be a jumble of community, staff, and moderators. How you doing, Inani? Welcome back. So at the moment, I'm just kind of, I wouldn't say I'm defeated by this massive grave, like, or, you know, graveyard. I'm at the point, though, I think the stream has gotten enough information from it, and I think we can move on to build something else. Like, it'd be fun to, you know, this month build like a tavern, or, you know, I don't know, like a holiday, like ice, winter wonderland type map. Inani, I'm glad you're here. But I'd be open to suggestions. If anyone has any ideas or thoughts on what our next Mapmaker Monday build should be. Ideally, something that we can build within a month or less. And by that, I mean like 3 to 4 Mondays, because we only work on it on Monday, right? So with that prospect, I'd love to kind of hear community insight. Size isn't so much the issue of the map, but I'd like to keep, well, I guess size is an issue. I'd like to keep the map small, but also, you know, I think with this one, I just kept expanding it and expanding it. I don't know why I did. I was like, no, we need more graves. No, we need more graves. No, we need more graves. I could have probably cut the map at this half right here, right? Like just one bit of it and been done. No, we need a groundskeeper's cottage, you know, like everything. I'm hoping to be able to finish a build in a month. Roughly 4 streams. Maybe 5 tops. So that's what we're going to be doing going forward, and that's what the theme should be about. Something, you know, concise. So we could do like a whole cathedral, but not all the surrounding area. Like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this graveyard. It is just so much. Sundial, welcome to the stream. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. It is a map making tool that allows you to build maps for your, you know, tabletop campaigns. So D&D, Pathfinder, or really anything in a fantasy aesthetic. This build here is a massive cemetery that I've been working on the stream. That's what we're discussing right now. We're actually live on like 6 different platforms right now: Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Steam. So our community can kind of tune in and learn, ask questions, and check out, like, you know, different styles of maps. So on Monday, we typically work on a map, and that's what we're discussing right now, the future of this stream. Welcome, by the way. Appreciate you chiming in and saying hello and asking questions. But this cemetery build is rather extensive. It's like huge for an encounter. Your party would probably spend several sessions here. Like stargazing or academy type of fantasy build would be cool. Interesting, Anani. If they cast Speak the Dead, yeah, they'd be here for years if they cast Speak the Dead. Question for y'all. So my DM in my game that I, you know, play in as a player, he gave our party 2 months of downtime, which for a wizard, that's like a lot of downtime. And I also have the Arcana skill, so I can craft my own scrolls. But I also was leveled up just before the session ended, so I was able to pick a couple new spells. And I have so many spells, but not enough preparation slots, right? So I try to get a mixture of spells that are rituals and spells that are like spells that if I turn them into scrolls, they're useful. And so they don't have to be on my prepared list all the time. That being said, like, I have some of the most powerful, you know, mainstay spells, but I am I'm level 7. I'm 6 and 1 wizard, 6, 1 artificer. And when I leveled up, I took a couple spells for particular reasons. One was Phantom Steed. I'm always falling behind my party because I'm a halfling. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I usually ride like a dog named Chance, who is a mastiff, but I've taken a liking to Chance and I don't want him to die. So I am going to start riding the Phantom Steed if I can. And then additionally, I took Nistel's Magic Aura, which is very situational, but I feel like I could do some silly stuff with it. Especially during downtime. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that spell. Thank you, Jester. I appreciate it. I used one of Sack's 80 by 80 or something else super large maps, and it's been 4 sessions for my campaign, right? Depending on the size of the map, it could be huge. So I learned about 5 spells in my downtime. I learned Vortex Warp, Nistel's Magic Aura, and then I learned Phantom Steed. Oh, and I learned Mind Spike because I'm a divination wizard, so I need Mind Spike. Oh, and then I also took Augury because I thought it'd be fun to, you know, once in a while do like a little, hey, let's ask what might be upcoming. So Nistel's Magic Aura allows you to change the like school of magic that an item appears as, or it allows you to remove its magic aura altogether. So like you could take a magic item and make it look like a mundane item. So if you're trying to hide your magic items, conceal them, or maybe you're trying to hide the school of magic that something is or someone is, you can change it into another one temporarily. But if you cast that spell on the object or person for 30 days, it remains consistent. Yeah, Mind Spike, I'm not sure where it comes from, but it's probably it's like the only divination attack spell. And with it, you can really do well after your level 6 div, because you can do silly stuff like cast level 4 Mind Spike to recover a level 3 spell slot. Whatever level you cast it at, you recover a spell slot below. Yeah, Nistel's Magic Aura. The Magic Aura spell is I think, one of the more interesting spells that is kind of underrated. Like, a lot of people don't really use it or consider it because it's not a combat spell. But my character's kind of paranoid, especially after being in prison just for being like lucky. The campaign started with us in a prison break. So my character has been trying to, like, ever since then, prepare for the inevitable or the worst and make sure he's never in a situation where he can be captured or like subdued again. Anani, Mind Spike is really good. Okay, so let's talk for a minute about what the next upcoming map should be. So the artificer history of my character, it's like my family was a group of artificers. My father runs a workshop and tinkers and makes, you know, stuff, sells it. And I was raised in a family of tinkerers. But then I found that, like, as much as I loved it and enjoyed it, I also kind of wanted to learn more about magic and the weave and like understand it to an increased capacity. So I wanted to focus on wizardry so I could learn more spells. Like, my character wants to learn as many spells as he can and master as many spells as he can. A golem forge. What was your first one, Anani? Sorry, just refresh my memory really quickly. Stargazing Academy. Okay. So like a school? Okay, so like you mean like an observatory or a school? Does anyone have any other suggestions too? I want to hear some. Lars, what about learning a new language or something workshoppy based on your artificer? So I definitely do crafts in my downtime, right? We have a bastion with a workshop, so I spend time there. But I do also do a lot of preparation for upcoming, encounters, because as the wizard, I'd like to be prepared for anything. So I'll make scrolls of spells I can't keep prepared, or I like to have backups of, shield and silvery barbs, or, just little things like that. Like I have a stack of General Repose scrolls just in case one of our party members gets downed and we can't revivify them in time due to lack of spell slots or lack of a person who can cast it. Remember, we're trying to make a map that would be done in less than 4 map building sessions, so roughly 4 to 8 hours of work for our upcoming map making. So if we do that, I would definitely like to make sure that we take an approach that is, small but impactful. Does that make sense? Multi-level cave, interesting. Might consider that. How you doing, Jack? Making sure all those fence lines up with the grass, like the stonework does. Just a little bit more there. So some ideas I'm thinking, right? Like watchtower or maybe, tavern. Let's see here. How about city square? Like an individual shop, so we could do like an outfitter shop, like an adventuring outfitter shop. We could do the docks, like a singular theme, but it's something that it's like an area that kind of captures a certain aesthetic and feel, and likely be, mapped out inside of, 4 to 8 hours. Also, at the end of the day, I want it to be themed around as much stock assets as possible, preferably not, interjecting a bunch of assets that are from the workshop. Because the more assets from the workshop that we have to use, the less likely the average map maker can use it. Not anything against the workshop assets, but some of them just aren't as well optimized as others, and it causes performance issues with DA if you have lots of these assets on your computer and are trying to run DA. I've seen it many times where people get a copy of DA and then subscribe to every asset on the workshop they can see that they like. They're like, oh, I just got to have it. And the problem is some of those assets are hundreds of megabytes and those need to preload into your RAM before DA can load them into your object set. So that can take a while if you have, not that much RAM or an older computer, etc. It's a good idea to make sure that whatever you're doing in Dungeon Alchemist, especially when you're downloading assets from the workshop, you treat them like mods. Because in essence, that's what they are. They're modifying Dungeon Alchemist, adding third-party assets that aren't nearly as optimized or cleaned up or designed directly for Dungeon Alchemist. A maze would be fun. Soon, Anani. The first few I've kind of been handpicking just to keep things kind of, because it's a test format, really. I'm really learning as I go. Does that make sense? Like, all of this is new, and I want to make sure it works well before we start getting way invested. There might be minor adjustments or changes needed. But that being said, I appreciate you reminding me and bringing it up. I will make it a priority to get that up so we can at least, if anyone is interested, they can apply and be on the, the short list going forward. But essentially our first few interviews will be like guinea pigs, because this whole new thing is, I got to follow a schedule. And so that's not a problem, but like, hey, what if we run over a little bit in a segment? Now the whole schedule's messed up. Revan, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to use the workshop items. I just say use them with the intent and knowledge that some of them are not as well optimized as others. The average Dungeon Alchemist map without workshop assets is around 3 to 5 megabytes. The average map with workshop assets goes up into the hundreds of megabytes. So it jumps up drastically in size, and the performance of your computer can take a hit, especially if you are subscribed to lots of assets. That's all I'm pointing out. So what I recommend is only subscribing to assets as you need them, and remove them from your collection once you're done with your build. This way, they're not actively leeching on your RAM when you're not using them. And the cool thing about that is if you build a map and it has assets in it and you unsubscribe and remove them from your system, if you open that map up later, it'll prompt you to download them automatically. So you won't have to go hunt for them again. Yeah, some of the objects definitely aren't optimized for top-down. But yeah, exporting at the max DPI is only advisable if you're printing your map, or if you're using like a localized TV tabletop, for sure. I've definitely made the mistake of exporting a map at too large of a DPI, and it was so big that Foundry wouldn't even recognize it. Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, all these different virtual tabletops, they're great, but they also have their own limitations. File size, resolution limits, etc. And where they're web-based, you want to be careful and make sure you don't surpass what their system can handle. So happy to see some active TikTokers today. Appreciate y'all being here. How's it look on TikTok today? Is the view coming through good? Audio as well? Looks and sounds fine. Awesome. We were having some issues with our multi-stream crashing and not working, and had to make some adjustments to the back end of the stream to help with it. I don't know if what I did helped or if it was just a temporary internet hiccup when it was happening. Either way, it was frustrating. but I'm glad it's mostly fixed now. So if any of all, let me know if anything crashes or freezes or if you have audio issues. Just let me know what kind of issue it is and I'll take note. Granted, not every hiccup is necessarily a big problem. Sometimes streaming just has issues. Hey, Blind Dude Life, how's the sci-fi builds going? You make some of the craziest sci-fi maps in the community. Saturday was just a fluke. Well, that's good to know. I put a lot of effort into making sure the stream looked good again and ran good again. And there was some, hardware purchased from my end and donated from a very, very amazing fan in the community who wanted the stream to be as successful and look as good as possible. Basically, this whole new tower was a combination of, DA contributed parts. I purchased the tower, the power supply, and then like the motherboard, RAM, GPU, cooler, all that was a donation from a very amazing fan in our community who just loves Dungeon Alchemist and wants to see it, be as best as possible on stream. No worries, Anani. I got you, bud. You know what? I think I'll leave this tree here and put some shrubs too. We need more green. Dang, Revan, that's a lot of maps. Were all those made in Dungeon Alchemist? By the way, I love your name. Revan is like IMO, one of the coolest Star Wars characters. I know that some people don't perceive Revan as canon, but I do. When the Jedi speak of balance, I think they were looking for what Revan had, and they didn't realize it. That's impressive. Years-long campaign, Revan. Congratulations. How many DMs here have been running their campaign for years? A singular campaign. Raise of hands. Year and a half counts, Anani. That's long term. That's a long time still. Yours has been going on a year and a half? Dang. 3 groups in one universe? Working on a ship as we speak? Nice, I'll have to see that. 3 years, Eduardo? Dang, Lars, that's cool. 2.5 years? Y'all are running some crazy long campaigns. First off, props. Can y'all, any of you that piped up said you're running a long campaign? I want you to take your hand, pat yourself on the back, because that's awesome. It really is a lot of dedication and work to be, GMing, DMing a campaign that long. And keeping the group together, making sure scheduling still happens. Excuse me. Yeah, you know, sci-fi and DA are kind of a mixed bag, and I will say this because it was originally designed for fantasy. That was the promised aesthetic and plan from our Kickstarter, right? But because we've added things like the workshop where you can share maps and 3D models and the asset importer under the Steam Workshop tab, this right here, this tool is invaluable. That's how all the 3D models end up on the workshop, is through this tab right here, the asset importer. Cancel. I'm going to save. We'll open the asset importer. Let me save twice. Okay. Star Wars, I mean, arguably, it's sci-fantasy, right? There's definitely enough of it leaning into like just regular old fantasy stuff. I mean, it's space wizards, you know? That being said, I love when sci-fi has the Western feel to it. You know, Firefly really captured that aesthetic, and it was amazing. I'm sure you use a lot of the metal. Do you ever do like planet side ones where they're like in a dust or a dirt planet, like a Mars looking feel? Do you play with the lighting ever, you know, to adjust that too? I'm sure you can get a lot out of it. But that being said, the asset importer allows you to import essentially whatever you want. Here's a 3D model of Hendrik, our mascot as an alchemist, right? Here's a 3D model of my cat made as kind of a pudgy little loaf, Monty. These assets, particularly like this one here, was created by Mrs. Mac, my wife. She's amazing with the 3D art, and she does a really great job. And we kind of work together and come up with an idea, and she makes it come to life, right? But I used this in a build some time ago on Mapmaker Monday as well. But these assets, any assets, you know, if you have the ability to sculpt a 3D model or build one, you know, in using CAD or Tinkercad or any number of 3D modeling tools, you can then import the asset into Dungeon Alchemist and use it in your own maps and designs. But our community has taken this to the max. There is now hundreds of thousands of assets that work for modern, apocalyptic, sci-fi, cyberpunk, and so on. Man, Coruscant would be tricky to make in Dungeon Alchemist just because of it's essentially just it's a city planet, right? They only have shown that one scene where you could see like the tip of like what is like Mount, like, you know, like the tallest mountain on Coruscant, and it's now like a rock just sticking out because of everything built on top of it. Ooh, asteroid surfaces would be cool. How you doing, Space Monkey? Welcome back. Okay, so what I'm gonna work on here is this space. I'm gonna start working on the park. Oh, park map would be fun too for Mapmaker Monday. Croissant. Yeah, she does really good work. But back to the workshop kind of really quickly before we get back on building. You know, looking on here, typing sci-fi, you'll find hundreds of over 1,000 objects just tagged sci-fi, and there's many more that'll work in a sci-fi aesthetic just fine. Tin Man or Zentik, they make really good sci-fi maps as well. Got a Stargate right there. If I had to guess, I'd say between 40 and 50. Maybe up to 60. And I get distracted while I'm building. I'm not building the whole time, so it's really hard to keep track of it. You know what I mean? Because I'll be answering questions. We'll be discussing other people's maps and their campaigns. So we get a little sidetracked from time to time. Imagine if you could building a map while everybody in your family comes in and constantly asks you questions. and like picks your brain and wants to learn about what you're doing and then has questions about their own maps. It gets really like, I think I've learned how to focus well on stream, but at the same time, it's really easy to get distracted. I don't know if you have, blind dude. What is it for? This map is roughly 85 by 82, and I get roughly about an hour or so a week on it. Okay, so I'm gonna make this like a little park. I'm thinking like a gazebo or something right here. There, I used that one. Much better. Much better. I still, from time to time, it's a little sensitive and light, or like it'll water excessively, but I think it's doing a lot better. I've used up all my medication, and I had a follow-up appointment with the optometrist, or ophthalmologist, I should say, and they were happy with my progress. So one could say things are getting pretty serious. No, it's doing a lot better. Gardens, like a garden around a house. Yeah, the thing is like, you want symmetry, but at the same time, you want to add like a haphazard nature of human, like, you know, intervention to it. Okay. We got a gazebo. I may cut some of these little openings off and just make them fences, because I kind of want them like centralized on the gazebo now. There's like two here, makes no sense. So I'll close that and put it towards this. That, or I could have one kind of go whoop, one go whoop, 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 whoop. That's a lot of paths though. But at the same time, I kind of want places to walk around and do things in here. I don't know, maybe no paths and just like hedges and plants and like an open space. So it's kind of like a Adventure Time-esque. Oh, except for they're in space. Gotcha. I wouldn't say they're giant. They're just big enough to see at any height above. Neat. That's cool. Atlam, are you here by chance? Oh, I see you typed XD. Could you just kind of keep a short list of the suggestions that have been made for Mapmaker Monday, like the upcoming? And to be honest, I'd be open to even like just setting up our next Mapmaker Monday theme. Thank you. I think, yeah, with this, I was just trying to fill this space, right? And I felt like there needs to be a caretaker for this massive cemetery. someone who keeps a groundskeeper, if you will, keeps an eye on things, makes sure all the plants are watered and maintained and trimmed, and that, you know, graves are dug and well maintained if they're not managed by anyone. You know, I could try building a large scale village, but at the same time, I worry like that I'd get so lost in it, you know? It'd probably end up being huge. Like water deep big. Or cholt big. But this path here, all this path was put in by hand, and I just put the stones in one at a time and slowly angled them until I got it just how I wanted it. Every time I was working on this and other parts of the map, everyone wanted the groundskeeper to be nefarious. So I hid a little hatch under this pile of manure back here. I've added a bit of intrigue to this map, forgive me. If you go here and check it out, there's a few places where there's like secret hatches on the map. So this mausoleum here, you look under the, you know, the sarcophagus here, we have a little hatch hiding out. And then inside of the cathedral, you see the confessional booth. By the way, this is a stock asset. So the confessional booths have a secret to them. You can get inside and then rotate them, and they go to a secret passage behind. So if anyone needs like sanctuary, or maybe the priest is like Batman, there's like a secret passage at the back side of the chapel or the cathedral that goes underground. So there's several underground areas. I was planning on making a companion map to this that was like catacombs, but now this map is so big the catacombs would be insane. I'll probably end up having to do that on my own. What would be amazing, though, is if I had started this map after multi-level was made, then I could have it all on one map. Bat Padre. And I've got crazy hiccups this morning. I always thought Batman's name shouldn't actually be Batman. You can if you have if a powerful enough computer, Revan. So Dungeon Alchemist is basically, it operates by rendering a real-time 3D environment, right? So this entire environment is rendered in real time. When you play a video game like Baldur's Gate or, you know, any shooter, the environment is pre-rendered. So it was made in advance. Whereas Dungeon Alchemist, you build the environment as you go and add stuff to it. The more objects, lighting, animations, the size and scale of the map, the more levels you add, that starts adding a lot of demand on your CPU and GPU and RAM, right? That being said, the more powerful a machine you have, the larger maps you can make with ease. There's people in our community who have done like virtual machines for Dungeon Alchemist and made 1,000 by 1,000 maps. Like, you can get crazy in size. There's been people who have made, you know, on their local machines, maps up to 250 by 250. Now, a lot of that size was done pre-multi-level. So multi-level is like stacking a few of those maps on top of each other. If you could imagine having, you know, a bunch of 100 by 100 maps pancaked on each other, say 10 levels, that'd actually be more like 1,000, you know, by 1,000. Anyway, definitely Dungeon Alchemist will be a directly proportionate, the scale will be directly proportionate to however powerful your machine is. So the more powerful your graphics card, the more intense your RAM and, you know, CPU, the more likely you'll be able to build a massive map. That's why we kind of give a warning when people try to make maps over 50 by 50. It's just a guide to say, hey, you know, you don't need to make a map the size of a city every time. Now, that being said, my name for Batman, hear me out here, okay? Before anyone jumps to any conclusions or gets upset, his name should be Orphan Crippler. Because he's an orphan, and he doesn't kill people, but he will cripple them. So could you imagine Batman just being like, nope, it's the opposite. That's why it's so funny. Why would Batman be crippling orphans? That's just not Batman behavior. But he is an orphan, and he does constantly cripple people. Hey, Belladonna, how you doing? Oh, yes, we're having the time of our lives, as Green Day would say. There's always a great it's always a great time to join, right? It's trash day, and I forgot to take out the trash. It's trash day. So you're reading into the name incorrectly. He doesn't cripple orphans or get any of the orphans he mentors crippled. He's an orphan who cripples bad people. Man, potentially I could get that big if I focused on it. My new computer is a beast. Now, that being said, that's not the one that's this map's being built on. I just built a new machine for the stream, and I'm going to be flip-flopping them here soon. I've been backing up all my data meticulously, making lists of all the apps and making sure I have everything I need before I switch. Also, I'm going to have to change around my network configuration for everything because all of my media server is run through my other computer, not the new one. So anyway, when all's said and done, the new machine will be running DA, and then the old machine will be streaming it, which will be still running amazingly well, but also running DA much better. You know, to be honest, I could understand why some people don't really care for the Batman aesthetic or the vibe. I'm not much of a rich man becomes hero archetype, mainly because we just don't see that in the real world. It's like you see plenty of people who do vigilanteism that don't really have the means. But not you don't have any Batman or, Iron Man-esque type people. But you'll see people in their own community will do things to protect it, I don't know. I definitely think Spider-Man and people who come from an upbringing of not necessarily just strife, but also struggle, probably are, in my opinion, the best heroes. I think they're just the most relatable. Iron Man and Batman, they're cool. They're cool. But to me, it just seems like any rich dude could end up being a hero in that universe if they just stuck with it. Well, that's why you also have the Bond-esque type villains who are usually millionaires and billionaires trying to, do whatever. Yeah, Jeff Bezos is definitely giving off Lex Luthor vibes for sure. You saying I look like Lex Luthor? Just because I'm bald? Listen, I had to get rid of all that hair to make room for all my brain activity. I'm like Lex Luthor's cool uncle. Call me Funkle Luthor. Hey, Fox, how you doing? Mac is Brainiac. Baldness is one of the requirements. I honestly... I don't mind being bald. It's something I have had to deal with for a long time. I knew I would get bald when I was a kid. On one side of my family, they're all bald, right? And then on the other side of the family, only one of my uncles is bald. Actually two. The rest have full heads of hair. So on my dad's side of family, my grandpa, my uncles pretty much all have full heads of hair. But they're tall. So the average height of the males in my dad's side of family is anywhere from 6 foot to 6'5", and full heads of hair, surprisingly. And then on my mom's side of the family, it's like lots of balding. My grandpa, my uncle, my aunts, my uncles, my grandpa, my all of them like bald, right? Now that being said, I am tall. I get the tall part of my dad's side at least. I'm just clocking in just shy of 6 foot. And then, so I tower over everyone on my mother's side of the family, but I blend in because I'm bald and have like the big beer belly thing going on. Peter, how you doing? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. My uncle, he's on my dad's side. He and I are basically like look alike. We look just super bald, and when we get together, we just laugh and joke about it. Like, because we're like the only bald people in the room, basically. My grandpa died with a full head of just absolutely snow white hair. Yeah, starting next week, we're going to taper down the theme to be more of a digestible map making topic that can be done within about, I'd say 4 to 6 sessions going forward is the plan. Ideally. The leader was bald. Let's see here. I wouldn't call the Watcher a villain, but he definitely is evil sometimes, and he's bald. There's quite a few bald guys in the Marvel universe that aren't necessarily villains or necessarily good guys either. Deadpool is bald. Kingpin, bald, definitely. Kingpin is probably the bald villain archetype. And Kingpin is probably as close to Lex Luthor as you'll get in like the Marvel universe, but he's also like super strong himself. Like I often kind of felt like Kingpin had like, almost as strong, like he was as strong as like say Captain America. The dude is got some bulk to him. Luke Cage, hero, bald. Yep. There's quite a bit of bald people in both universes, to be honest with you. Some are villains, some are good. Vision, bald. Professor X, bald. That's a big one, man. I think Marvel's really good about bald representation. I've always felt like I fit in the Marvel universe. What would my powers be? Let's see. I always joked that if I ever got a superpower, I'd be unlucky and probably get like a really dumb one. Like, for instance, one power I came up with as a kid, me and my friends made our own Avengers group. And my power was to make bricks with my mind. So, like, basically just would make bricks appear. There's a world-ending meteor approaching the planet. What is Brickman gonna do? Ah! Just bricks for days. Yep. The Mason actually was my name for a while. Was my nickname when we were coming up with superhero identities. Yeah, Lizzie, it is so true. My mom is to blame. My mom and her family. For the reason I am so bald. Not years of stress or multiple events in my lifetime that would cause people my age to go bankrupt or lose their house, or and that's not just from outside sources like the economy. Okay, we've kind of got the outline of this park here. I want some trees. You know, Anani, that's cool, but I feel bad for those fish. Like, what if you're not anywhere near water? It just appears and dies in front of you? And that would make you have a good day? Anani, are you okay? Oh, your cat would definitely be happy. This is true. Okay, I need to think of which stones to run into here for the park. I think I'll do the same stones I did over at the caretaker's cottage. Instead of looking for it, I'm just going to copy and paste it over here. Now I'm going to sink it down a little bit. Perfect. And then there's ones I did for like borders along these edges. Just copy and pasting. So I finally tried out that new Arc Raiders game. I got a copy for free with my new GPU. And can I just say that game is mildly habit forming. You know, I think Aquaman would be a lot cooler if he could just make fish appear instead of summoning them. You know, like communicating with them. Like, it's cool that he can talk to fish. It's cool that he can swim super fast across the vast distances of the ocean. But do you know what else can do that? A boat. So basically, you really only need him if you need to talk to fish. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why? Let's hear about it. If I could have any one superpower that was like innocuous and people really like, I don't know. I think teleportation would be cool. Being able to like jump from place to place all across the world at like the flip of, you know, your finger, or just thinking it. So instead of like mimicry that you could learn anything, you could teach anyone anything, is it something you already have to know? Or is it just something you just can teach anyone anything, even if you don't know it? You're like, hey, let me teach you nuclear physics. I don't know it, but by the end of the 5 minutes, you will. Wouldn't that be frustrating to not know anything yourself, but be able to teach everyone else something? Lizzie, that one's a cool one. Do you think like speaking with animals would be helpful? Do you feel like they'd have information to share that is useful, or do you think they'd be like, food, where's the food? Hey, do you know where some food is? Not saying all animals are like that. Definitely some animals are articulate and intelligent, but I just wonder if the conversation with the average animal would be like, you can use the power of yourself on yourself, Wicker. Okay, so you could teach yourself anything in 5 minutes, even though you didn't know it 5 minutes ago. Interesting. It's a neat concept for a power. I've heard of like mimicry powers in shows before, where like if they saw something once, they could repeat it, right? Immediately. So like they could watch someone do kung fu and know how to do kung fu or whatever. But, you know, that's situational. I feel like there was someone like that in the show Heroes. Meteor Man? You know, I don't recall. Not a fan of that particular IP. Didn't really know much about it. In the show Lock and Key, there's all these keys that are made, forged from what's called demon metal, which there's all these demons that are like passing through into our realm, and they keep dying, and when they die, their soul becomes like a piece of iron ore or demon iron. And then this family learned how to forge that metal into a key, and the keys give you special powers, so you can do things with them. Like one of the keys can just, if you open a door with it, you can teleport wherever you want. If you know of a place, you can think of it and go there. Another one of the keys, oh, this one's the one I was getting towards. It allows you to unlock people's brains, like open their head and go inside so you can see all their memories, their trauma. But if you take like a book and put it inside of them, inside their head, they immediately know everything in the book. I don't recall that movie, so probably haven't seen it. One of the keys allows you to turn like anything into like a prison, like a mirror into a prison. So you could like trick your enemies to go inside of it, and if they do, they're stuck there in like a mirror dimension. But it's pretty cool that you could just like go into anyone's memories and learn about them. You could also go into like places they imagine. So like you could go in your own brain and go to your happy place and go play there. So you could like imagine a theme park and go hang out there. It's pretty neat, but it's also kind of terrifying because while you're inside your brain, you're like sitting there and anyone could just walk up on you. There was a lady in the show who was actually trapped inside of her own brain or someone else's brain, and she was like a vegetable for years. What is the best building term to use for a warehouse? What do you mean, Lizzie? By building term. Like, are you looking for something specific in the objects? A lichen lodge. Cool. Ah, a warehouse. One moment. I'm looking for something specific. I feel like one of these generates a warehouse. Which one am I thinking of? There are plenty of wooden objects that can substitute for a dock. If you go to object, don't just search dock, okay? Search like catwalk or whatever. But if you go to structural and go to wooden platforms, there's plenty of platforms that can work as docks. There's scaffolding here that work rather well, okay? And if you need some examples of that, you can search docs on the workshop and kind of see what they've done. As far as a warehouse is concerned, I swear we have a building that automatically fills with items. One second. I think it's the storage room. Let me just generate this. Okay. I am very confused right now. Oh, I built an empty room, that's why. So like a storage room can double as a warehouse option. And I swear in the castle we have one similar to that. One second. But what I would do, you don't necessarily have to just have something labeled as warehouse to make it as such. You could pick, say storage room, generate it without objects, right? If you generate the room without objects. Let me generate it again. Blank slate. So now that it's empty, this is just a warehouse. It could be whatever room you want it to be. Go into the storage. You've got all these crates, right? Some of them are actually stacked crates. Oops. Sorry, it's finding all these sci-fi ones. The stacked crates are what are called variants. If you press tab, they automatically shuffle between pre-configured stacks. So you can just kind of put them in here like that, call it a day. Yep, just add crates. You could put crates in any room you want. And the cool thing is, it doesn't just have to be crates. There's other boxes and things here you could put in too. Or you can make custom stacks. That would be the best approach. If a room isn't available for the type of thing you're trying to build, just remember, make a blank room, fill it with whatever you want. Ah, mansion has cellar, that's right. I do think there are a few. Well, wine cellar isn't so much of a storage room anymore. I swear we used to have one that would just fill with boxes like this. Am I crazy? Is that room gone? The Sunday game's on the 7th, actually. We haven't had it yet this month. Hmm. Yep. Next Sunday. Very excited. Very excited. Hey, Mondu, how you doing, bud? Pantry could work pretty good for warehouse. Pantry or storage room, you just have to make some subtle adjustments, you know? Oh, anyway, hopefully that helps you out there. Yeah, Mondu, what you eating today? I've been eating nothing but Thanksgiving leftovers for the last few days because I didn't get to have any Thanksgiving food because I was too sick. So I've been really hyped for the leftovers, actually. Just a few hot dogs, no bread, just fork. Is it a quick meal or a sad meal? We need to know details here, Mondu. It's a meal. Fair enough. I just remember when I was like a bachelor, when I was eating hot dogs by themselves, it was either like I was just super hungry and had nothing else, and I was like just trying to keep it quick and easy. Or it'd be like the middle of the night, I'd be like leaning over the countertop, like over the sink, like a werewolf as I ate my food. Oh, nice, Mondu. So it was a quick meal, and you were helping your homie with OBS, which is awesome. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing the knowledge. OBS and Streamlabs get really tricky, and I think they're intimidating to a lot of users, you know? This won't work. The third path needs to go. Just notice this gazebo only opens on two sides. Don't we have a wooden gazebo now, too? Let's see what that one looks like. Gazebo. Let's do the wooden one. Does it only have one entrance, though? That's even worse. Ugh! I need more entrances. This one makes no sense, too. It's got two entrances on this side and one there. Yeah, maybe. That, or I could put the gazebo, like, here. And all the paths converge. That's the plan now. That's the new plan. Executive decision made. Real question is, will all these stones meet up? Please, for the love of Bob. Oh no. By the way, everyone, so we're going to take a probably stop working on this map, take a break for it for a while, and start working on more digestible Mapmaker Monday projects that can be finished, say, inside of 4 or 5 streams, instead of something so massive that it's like a whole undertaking. That being said, I'm taking feedback in chat for theme ideas. So if you have any suggestions for an upcoming Mapmaker Monday idea, please let me know. That way we can potentially use your suggestion and make a map based on it. We're thinking simple ideas of maps that can be made in like 4 or 5 streams. Nothing too crazy. So smaller in size and optimal for, you know, entire community use, things that most people will get use out of. Sorry, just trying to line these up so the gaps in between them are not too big, but big enough. Okay. You know, in my campaign that we're playing right now that's been running for over a year, we've only seen one dragon. But it was a drake, so it wasn't even like full-on dragon. Dungeons, dungeons, and more dungeons. Oops. Okay, what should we add next in here? I was thinking some like water features, like some little fountains or something. Not sure what to think now. First off, how did that dragon get in the dungeon, okay? I barely fit in some parts. The logic ain't logicking. Dragon polymorphed before he came in, right? Open to suggestions here for the park. What should I put? It's in a massive cemetery. Play equipment seems out of place. It's more like just a place to sit and reflect. Cronclor, ask away. That's what the stream's for. Let me know if you're experiencing issues, bugs, if you have questions, concerns. The stream is AMA format for that reason. So we can discuss anything related to Dungeon Alchemist, of course. Oh my goodness. It's been some cars drag racing near my house lately. It's obnoxious. Keeps me up all night, I swear. Some topiaries? That's a good idea. So I swear I clicked that eye. We're still waiting. I should have saved. Map is way too big. So that's likely not a bug, but an export setting there, Cronclor. When you look at the export menu, there's several export options for your borders. Normal borders, no borders, small borders. If you export with no borders, the map will be the exact size you exported at. I mean, all that information is available in the export screen, so to speak. One moment, I'll show you what I mean. Saving. I'm going to save like twice just in case. Was this a map you made or a map from the workshop? This map's so big. So when you export, that is weird. That makes no sense. That doesn't match at all. Okay. What I would recommend, Cronclor, is pop over into our Discord. You can share that map because we can share files in our support forums. We can take a look at it and see if it exports the same way for other people. And if there is a bug, we can report it up the ladder to the devs. But basically, the size of the border exponentially increases depending on the export size. So it looks like the visual math that it's showing in the export menu may be incorrect, but it always exports at the right size if you set it at no borders. Small borders should be a 2x2, and large borders, I believe, is a 10x10 border. Interesting. But yeah, please report the bug in our Discord. That way we can track it and send it up the ladder to our devs. Please share some screen grabs, video, you know, the map itself, anything you can share. But spin up a thread in the support forum, okay? That's where it'll be best to look at it and try and troubleshoot it. I have noticed the first person responds better if you have saved first. Like if you haven't saved in a long time and try and go into first person, it takes forever. But if you save and then go into it, I don't know why that is. Kind of interesting. Maybe some kind of caching issue. Cronkler, also, if you could screenshot your settings for, you know, for Roll20, that'd be helpful as well. Resolution settings, particularly. Topiary Dragon? I thought it was just a stock asset in the recent update when we got topiaries. Let me look in the Kickstarter. I don't think it's in here. Nope. That is not a Kickstarter asset, my friend. The orrery is, the ornithopter is, dryad, there's a dragon statue. Has the stream been good today on TikTok? Have we had any connection issues or anything? Or I mean on Twitch, like we did the other day? I don't know, for a little park, it's not bad. Not crazy. It doesn't need to be fancy. It's just a place to relax, meditate, reflect, pray, maybe even like eat a small lunch or something. What do you mean? But where? Ooh. Yeah, basically, I kind of wanted an area that just like was a beautiful spot in the middle of the cemetery. Close to the cemetery. These? Where would you put the star shape? Like right here or something? I'm not sure what you're trying to do. Maybe. Oh. Not sure how I feel about that. Mixed feels about it. For freehanding, that's pretty good though. Yeah, I'll definitely add some lamps in this area. Lighting and stuff like that will be added soon. Got a little park done today though, not bad. And we did touch-ups around all these edges. I put in the fence over here today. Kind of close this off because this is the area to expand the grapes to. Hey, Primal. Polaris, with regards to your question, I mean, likely yes, but when, I don't know. We're hoping as part of Fun with Objects too, but I haven't seen any demonstration for it yet, so I can't speak to it. It's just easier to see the water the contrast is better in top down, so you know there's water there. Before, it looks like an empty fountain otherwise when it's clear. Does that make sense? Unless you're animating the map, you barely notice it. So what were some of the suggestions for Mapmaker Monday going forward? What did we get? Ugh. Ugh. Ruins would be cool. So like an old abandoned temple or just some like long abandoned structure in the middle of the forest. You're not sure what it is, but it's good for an encounter or maybe a campsite for the night. A bordello? Geez, Asmodeus. I don't know how I feel about that on the stream per se. I'm fine with letting our community make their own, but I don't know if we should do that on the stream. Leads a little bit into non-family friendly territory. So this isn't a theme for the Dam Challenge. It's a theme for Mapmaker Monday for me to make. So development would be kind of a broad theme more for the Dam Challenge, whereas the themes we're looking for are like a map I could probably make in 3 or 4, maybe 5 streams tops, which we only get about an hour to an hour and a half of build time per stream. So I'm looking 5 to 10 hour builds, smaller, impactful. You could throw it on the list. I like Observatory because Observatory would be addressable. No, not a worry at all, Polaris. I just was informing you on what we're doing, so you were kind of following the spirit of the mission there. How about a continent map? Asmodeus, I swear, dude, I am going to. Why I oughta. We're going to do small maps. A 5-room dungeon could be interesting. I like the idea of a maze or a cavern. A new mine would be cool. Well, actually, I remastered that mine when Everything is Lava came out, so it's at least been remastered once, but it would be nice with multi-level now. Man, it would not be a very fun continent map. It would just be like a forced perspective one. Chim, I'm still laughing about the weatherman map. Retro video games, man. I've seen a Pac-Man map and I've seen a Donkey Kong map. Few of our creators have done some interesting builds. Macman. You know, Pac-Man is actually called Puckman in Japan, but which is named after Paku Paku, which means to flap one's gums. But they had to change it in the United States because teenagers kept vandalizing it. Or they thought teenagers would vandalize it to make it say something else. I kind of figured your map was a bordello, Anani, but I didn't want to say it during stream. It had that vibe with all the private rooms to the side. Yep, all you have to do is scrape a little bit off the P, and then it becomes a bad thing, right? Underwater, I could do that. Like maybe a sunken village, or do you just want like a straight up underwater scene? Part of this world. part of that world, actually. Polaris, though, good news is the devs are actively developing things towards our next update. Then there are features like that on the list, i.e. moving groups of objects or copying and pasting groups of objects between maps. Currently, we have an internal mechanism for that. It's called variants. There are hundreds of objects in Dungeon Alchemist that are pre-decorated. I don't know if you've noticed this. Like this alchemist table, right? It's pre-decorated, but if you press tab, notice I haven't finalized the placement with a left click. If you press tab before you do that, it'll show you all these pre-decorated versions. This isn't the AI decorating it. We decorated it by hand and put these variations in there so it could shove one of them in when it generates a room with this object. And if multiple of the same table are in there, it's more likely to look different. So, Duckman, that's what they should have been making it into. Anyway. That being said, we're hoping at some point to give you the ability to group objects together, right? Then save that grouping and potentially copy and paste it on your map or to other maps, or potentially even save that grouping and share it on the workshop. So you could make like a ship, build a ship, fill it in with objects, save that to the workshop so someone can just download it and it's all pre-configured as a variant that they can move all around as a single unit. Alternatively, you know, imagine maybe making a blank home that you just generate, like, say, a 4x6, and you have all the decorations ready and you just stamp it inside and you're ready to go. So you could repeat a lot of the same kind of fill in homes that are repetitive and don't need a lot to them. Kind of how video games do it. See you later, Inani. Thank you for being here, my friend. We're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes anyway, so. Whew. Trying to think if there's anything else we can add to this park. Little bit of art, some seating areas, maybe one more little seating area in this back corner. Nah, too tight. A tree. Hello, Dungeon Alchemist. Are you there? Uh-oh. This map is getting insane. Though I am glad I just saved it a couple of times. Yeah, right? Just grabbing a tree. It's a little awkward. Or, hey, put the tree on that art piece. Does that ruin it? Yeah. Okay. It was pretty funny, for sure. Jim, it definitely was it was funny for sure. Once I realized what was going on, I had to play along. So I'm surprised I didn't notice it before that, though. I was just like oblivious when I was reviewing the map. Let's take a look at the overhead here. See how drastic this thing is. Did I not click tracing? Oh, I did. By the way, the stream's going to be wrapping up in about 5 minutes, so if you have any other suggestions for Mapmaker Monday, let it be known. I'll take that list and I'll think through it and pick one for next week. Otherwise, though, it would be very appreciative if you have any questions, suggestions, feedback for the team, you let me know before the stream ends today. That way we can get all that information to them. Man, the peasant graves really hammer in that it's just like there's so many in there. Like from here to here is hundreds of thousands of graves. Well, I'd say between 400 and 700 graves, if I had to guess. Like a couple, like a little over 100 graves here, a few dozen there, a few dozen there, but then they're packed in like sardines over here. Yeah, I've learned a lot about grave placement over time now too. I've gotten a lot better at it and more like intricate in design. I want to add some lighting and put some stuff on it. I used the brush to do this in like a moment too, and now it just feels cheap. Many of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. The new assets sped things up for sure. Because, like, I remember I was starting to lose my creativity a little bit around here, and I was like, man, what can I pack in anymore? And then the update happened, and I was just able to, like, boom, boom, like, fill this in really quick. Yeah, I would imagine, like, that grave site might have been an older grave site. Like, this one closer to the cathedral, it, to me, seems like one of the older ones. Where, you know, maybe there was a massacre and there was a lot of graves put in really quickly. They're mostly wooden and like basic graves, right? Then you have the royal plot because the family was like, yeah, we want to have our own grave plot. We'll pay for the land and keep it maintained. This is where, you know, all of the royals will be buried. And then you have the martyrs or like servants of, you know, the cathedral, the clerics, the paladins, whatever, the priests, the priestess, and they're over here buried in various manners depending on the time and what they had available. Pizza Pond. You've got, you know, columbariums with just items remembering them because that may have been all they had. And you've also got some mausoleums for some of the like bigger martyrs, right? This place is big and still has room to grow. Hey, Cronkler, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Yeah, Cronkler, we're wrapping up right here in about a couple of minutes. But if you could spin up a thread in Discord, we'll get on it right away and help you out. We're going to need some information so we can properly assess the problem. Now, remember, everyone, this Saturday is the first new Dungeon Alchemist Map Making Show, okay? Or the Damn Show, for short. So we're still have the damn name in there, but it's an acronym now instead of being front and center, because the average viewer doesn't know what damn means. Maybe they'd be offended by it if they, don't like swearing. And the thing is using Dungeon Alchemist in the name will draw more people to our streams, is the hope. Now, that being said, this first stream will be revealing kind of the itinerary, hopefully in the next few days. And also, remember, we'll be interviewing Sack this Saturday, about a half hour into the first stream or so. Maybe 20 minutes tops. Let's say within the first 10 to 20 minutes, we'll start that interview. Because we're going to have like an intro, I'll talk about the itinerary, and then we do the interview. Oh, intro, news, and then interview, right? Sorry, it's all new to me too, and I'm still learning the flow of it and kind of getting used to it myself. But essentially every stream will have a schedule that we follow to the T, trying to showcase certain things and cover certain topics. There'll be sections dedicated, like a section of the stream dedicated just for questions. So instead of dropping everything like we do on the Mapmaker Monday streams or the damn streams of old to answer questions, we will answer questions during that segment. We'll also take segments or questions on social media and in Discord. So if anyone has a question but can't attend the stream, they can ask. It'll be added to a list, and I'll answer them in the order they come, and then we'll take and clip those answers and send them to you on social media or in Discord. So if you missed out on the stream, you can still get an answer potentially and get video for it. Hey, Polaris, I'm glad to be here for you. I hope everyone enjoys the streams in their own way, whether it's you're learning or you like the entertainment value or socializing, or you enjoy the community interaction and engagement that we offer, where you have this, third space that you can discuss your campaigns and map making and, not feel judged or, like everyone here is here to help you at the end of the day is really what it's about, That's why I love the streams, is we've built such a wholesome community together of, members and game masters and players who love and are passionate for tabletop gaming and map making and just want to make their games better, right? You watch while coding? Nice. What are you coding, Polaris? Fantastic, Cronclor. I'll try and take a look at it after my break after the stream. I usually take a quick break to eat, kind of stretch, and then I get back into my daily duty. So I'll do my best to try and respond to that. If not myself, someone in our community will dive in, and we can get the devs on it as soon as we kind of have hammered out all the potential issues. I just want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in today. Had a lot of fun on the stream. Mapmaker Monday is arguably my favorite stream. I really enjoy how we can sit and talk about our campaigns, talk about ongoing stuff in the gaming community, talk about map making and Dungeon Alchemist, and share ideas for making better maps, more fun encounters, etc. It's really just like having a DM hive mind, and we're all kind of working towards the same goal, which is providing a better production for our players, right? I'm doing like a 3D rendering engine. Dang, that's cool. That's really cool, Polaris. Sounds like a lot of work. Atlam, thank you for modding. I want to just say thank you to everyone that tuned in today, whether you were actively chatting, whether you were lurking, whether you were part of our mod team that was helping out today. Thank you for being here. You're very much appreciated. And, we'll see you next time I give a damn. I'm going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and then we're going to wrap up the stream. Okay, everyone? I hope you have a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you back this Saturday. Mac out. Bye. Oh, remember, Saturday, 1st, Dungeon Alchemist Mapmaker Show, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. UTC. Please, please, please do your best to try and attend, even if it's just for a few minutes. That way, you can let me know what your thoughts on the new format. As this is new, we're going to be test driving things and hopefully everything works. But if it doesn't, we'll shuffle things around, make adjustments, because we want this to be a fun experience for our community, both new and old. Okay? Thank you, everyone, for being here. We'll see you later. I'm going to run that commercial right now, okay? Mac out. Bye.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Doyak Ta, and before
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever. Find family. Kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have
To the fabled realm of Goyak Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered mapmaker, on Steam today.
All right, everyone. We'll see you around. Have a wonderful week. See you next, this upcoming Saturday, December the 6th, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UTC, for the first ever Dungeon Alchemist map making show. We'll see you soon. Mac out.